Hey everybody, thought I would just jump on here and tell you, answer some questions and talk about a few things. So let's begin. So here, before I start real quickly, here's my Create Awesome Vue.js Apps with Nuxt.js course. I just want to talk to you guys about it. You can go to school.programwitheric.com. The link's in the description below. I just have tons of information about the course. Registration's opened right now. I'm actually 3/4 the way through it, but I just want to put that in here. If you guys are looking to learn Vue.js, this is an amazing resource, so I would check it out. So I'm live streaming right now, so if you guys have any questions, leave a comment in the chat box. Just let me know. I will answer any questions, but I also have some questions that I prepared already for this live stream. So let's take a look what questions I have. What's up, Lewis? So I have Code, Tech, and Caffeine. So if you don't know, I help run a Facebook group called Code, Tech, and Caffeine. In this group, it's all for new developers, intermediate developers, anybody that wants questions of how to become a programmer or developer, like should they become self-taught, bootcamp. We get tons and tons of questions. There's actually over almost 6,500 members right now, and we're growing like leaps and bounds every day. It's just a huge group. Dylan from Coding Tutorials 360 helps run it. He's the admin, and I am one of the moderators, and he administrates the group. But it's a great group, so you guys could check it out. Hey, your name's Eric too. Really real? That's interesting. So in the chat room, we have another person named Eric. That's fine. So I thought I'd just go ahead and answer, or like I'll go ahead and talk about this question here. So this is from Alyssa. She says, "Hey coders, I'm new to the group. I'm looking to get started freelancing or working as a front-end developer sooner than later. I have an MA and a background in an unrelated field. Would you recommend doing a boot camp or self-learning, and why?" So this is a really hard question. So there's a lot of people right now moving from one field to become a programmer, developer. Everybody knows that developers make pretty good money, especially in the United States. It depends on where you are in the world. So if you're in Europe or elsewhere in the world, usually you definitely need an education. So it looks like you have that. I don't know how difficult it is without like a computer engineering or computer science if you're outside the United States. So I'm going to answer this as if you were in the United States. So I would say that there is probably one junior developer job for every 10 developers who want it. So it's pretty competitive out there right now. And to get a job doing web development or any sort of development and you don't have any experience and you're coming from a different field is definitely going to be difficult. But there is ways you can overcome that, and one way is to stand out. So if this really depends on you and the person who you are. So some people need a more guided kind of Rails guided experience with learning programming and development and engineering, and in that case something like a boot camp would be really good to go for, because also boot camps, a lot of good boot camps will have a whole section on how to interview. They have connections with local businesses in the area or companies that are looking for developers. So if you can do really, really well, you're going to have to put a lot of effort into the boot camp. You're going to have to work twice as hard as everyone else, or just work really, really hard. You know, be one of the top 10% in your class. Those opportunities to find a job doing web development, they're going to be out there. And the company, the boot camp's going to help you get it. You're going to know how to interview, and that's going to work really well for you. If you're going to be self-taught, then you have to find other ways to kind of stand out from the crowd. One of ways is to have a really rock-solid portfolio. That means you have a really good suite of sites that you've done and created. You have a good GitHub portfolio. And there's some other tricks you can do, one of which is, now this sounds a little interesting, but you may want to scout out the local companies in your town that are looking for developers, try to figure out which niche you want to go into, and then contact those people directly through LinkedIn. So maybe you find the hiring manager for the company that you want to work for, message him or her on LinkedIn and see if they want to go out for coffee or if they want to talk to you. or tell them that you're looking for a job. I mean, it's kind of building that relationship before you get an interview would be a good way to go. There's also other tactics like self-taught developers could try going to meetups. Like there's always a meetup in your town, and the meetups I go to, one of the first things they do is they ask if any companies are looking to hire. So, you know, you can go to the meetup, you can see, oh, this company over needs people. You can go talk to that person that works there, try to get an in. That might be another way to go. So let me answer. So that's just a few of my thoughts. This is a huge topic. We could spend a whole hour on how you can get a job as a developer. In fact, my friend is actually creating a whole course on it, which will be out sooner or later. Actually, it'll be next month. But I will include a link in the description about that course later on. And then also I had a follow-up question. Someone asked, so I told them that senior jobs, this is interesting. So junior dev jobs are rare and they're hard to get, but senior dev jobs, it's the opposite. There's so many companies that are looking for senior developers, and I mean, if you're anyone that has a few years of experience and you're on LinkedIn, you're going to get hit with the LinkedIn recruiter spam because the recruiters need senior devs. They don't want to hire people that have no experience or just right out of school. That's another topic. If you actually did have a computer engineering, computer science degree, that'll give you a leg up on just getting an interview. It'll sometimes get you past those HR firewalls. So that helps, but I'm assuming since she already has an education, she doesn't want to go back and get another one. Do you have any tips for standing out? I'm working on starting my own side hustle business, but it's nice to get a web development job for a while. So that's kind of what I was just talking about. You have to be able to stand out, and some of the things I just mentioned. Well, let me see. Let me take a question from the chat room. Let me take a look. So what to do after learning coding, Eric? Hard to get a job. Yeah, that's kind of going back to the same question here. There's just so many things you can do to try to stand out after you learn to code and program. Unfortunately, it's a hard road. I know there's another way I've heard that works, like Dylan from Coding Tutorials 360. When he first tried out, he just sent out like hundreds of resumes, like literally like thousands of resumes, kind of like pray and spray model. And that does work. He got interviews, and he was willing to relocate anywhere in the United States. You could probably think you might be able to do the same thing wherever you are. If you're ready to relocate, just try to put together a really good resume. You may even want to go to a resume service and then try to do a few of the things I mentioned, like maybe try to get a portfolio site and then just send out hundreds of resumes and be prepared to get a lot of rejections, but you just need one yes. So, well, you need a couple things. You need one person to say yes for an interview, and then you need to do well enough to interview to pass. But then you can definitely get that job. But it's a hard road. I've noticed a lot of high quality for learning Vue.js, but it isn't as popular as React and Angular. Would it be worth learning for you in order to get a job? So in my job, my day-to-day job, I write Angular 5 like all day long. Occasionally I get to write Vue.js on the side at my job, but I work in Angular 5. So I actually, before I got this job, I did interview at a place that had Vue.js. So there is jobs out there. I think every city has at least some people that have picked the Vue.js stack. So it just depends on where you live. You need to look at the job postings and see, are they looking for React developers? Are they looking for Angular 5 developers? Are they looking for Vue? If you're more interested in the back end, which tends to be paying a little bit more, but they're harder to get, you may want to see, are they looking for Java developers? Are they looking for Rails developers? Are they looking for Phoenix or Elixir or some other odd language that you haven't heard of? C#, the .NET stack. So you need to kind of do your research in the place where you're located at and see who's hiring. Or if you're willing to just work anywhere, you need to kind of narrow it down and see what jobs are available. And then get really good at it. Pick a language, pick a framework, and then get really good at it. I think Vue.js is definitely on the up and up. More and more companies are looking at it. More and more people are getting into it. I think it's a great first framework to get into. If you do put all your eggs in the Vue.js framework basket, and you start looking for jobs and you don't have any other experience, you're gonna have to look for those Vue.js jobs. If you have like 3 or 4, let me take a step back. Let's say you have like 5 years of experience in working as a developer, and you pick up Vue.js. If you can tell your employer like, hey, I have 5 years experience making websites, but I've been focusing on Vue.js, and they have like an Angular stack or React stack, you're probably okay. But if you have no experience and this is your first job and you pick Vue.js and there's no Vue.js jobs in your town, that's going to be hard for you to get a job. I still think it's an amazing language, especially if you're selling side projects too. It's a great way to go. Framework, that is, not language. Hey, okay, let's see here. Hey, I can code up in Angular 5. Is it necessary to move on to Vue.js? Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the same question. I'm a big fan of Angular 5, Angular 6, Angular 2+, basically. I love TypeScript. I think that makes things so much easier. It's like a subdivision of JavaScript, that is, subset, that is. So it makes really easy to code. I don't really love some of the things about Angular 5. I don't love the module system they have in place. I don't really like that. And there's so many files. It reminds me of Ember.js in some ways. But, I mean, if you know Angular 5, I would say maybe stick with Angular 5, try to get a job, or it just depends on what you're doing. Do I make Udemy courses? So I make my own course. I don't post it on Udemy. I think one day maybe I'll make some Udemy courses. I just haven't decided yet. Especially because I want to make higher. I love Udemy. I'm a proud Udemy affiliate. You can see some of my favorite courses below. You can click on them, buy them. I get a few bucks. I really appreciate it if you do that. I want to build courses that I can interact one-on-one with you, give you more feedback. I want to be available over email. I want to have our own Facebook group. And that's why I chose to host my courses on school.programwitheric.com. This is my first course I've ever written. It's Create Awesome Vue.js Apps with Nuxt.js. I'm actually 3/4 the way through it. And I need to do some updates to this copy here. But I go everything. This is like 2 courses in one. You get tons of information on Vue.js, like how do you do events, lifecycle hooks, vModel, vTrim, vIf, watchers, slots, dynamic components, custom directives, Vue CLI 3, how you can create apps with Vue CLI 3, basic routes setup. And then I go into Nuxt.js, and I'm about 3/4 the way the course. There's some more Nuxt.js stuff I'm going to add to the course, like Firebase database setup, displaying information. So all these videos are done, and I've been adding like 2 or 3 a week, and the course should be completely done by the end of the month. But you can buy it now if you like. You just need to go to school.programwitheric.com and click the Start Learning Now, enroll here, and you can pick it up. It's $57. But I'm also going to, if you buy now, since the course isn't complete, I'm going to give you the option. I'm going to continue to be updating in the future. You can download the videos. You can save them to your hard drive. You get a lot of options. And then we have our own Facebook group, and I'm available for Q&A, and you kind of get some more one-on-one with me. So I think it's a great course. I'm actually working right now with the guys who created Nuxt.js. If you don't know, Nuxt.js is like the server-side rendered framework for Vue.js. So it has a built-in node server, so it makes it a lot quicker on that initial page load. And there's also some really cool features to it when you create Vue.js apps. So I'm actually working with the Nuxt.js creators, Sebastian, and a few other people to see if I can get them on to do some interviews for, and to also audit the course. So I'm really excited about that, and so there's some really cool things coming out with this. So that's what I do. So let's take a few more from the chat room. Am I missing something in Vue? Should I make a shift from Angular to Vue? I think I already answered that question. It just depends on what your priorities are. I think Vue is up and coming. It's becoming really, really popular. It's a really great time to get into it and learn it, and more companies are hiring developers for it. If you're looking for purely the numbers, React and Angular are still more popular, But I think View is really becoming that solid third place, and who knows, it might become second place eventually. Okay. Let me look here. Do you think there's a stigma against boot camp students in the U.S. because there are so many schools these days? Yeah. What I recommend is I like Hack Reactor and I like Dev Mountain, and there's a few more. So you got to do your research. There's some really good boot camps out there, but there's also some really not great boot camps out there. And you need to kind of look at the curriculum that they're teaching, kind of what their past, how many students they get in versus how many people they admit. Some are like literally 100% of students that submit get in. Places like Hack Reactor are a lot more choosy, and you want that. And you want to look at the placement of how many of their students actually get placed into jobs. And then there's also certain boot camps where you pay a minimum amount, but they get a percentage of the money you get after you graduate. And if that's the case, you need to see like how many people are graduating, how many people, once again, are getting jobs. Those are more rare and harder to find. I'd also recommend doing not the online ones or the ones that are part-time. I would look at the ones that are full-time that you have to move somewhere. Like I think a Hack Reactors in San Francisco, Austin, Denver. Like I would literally go to one of those cities. You need to probably save some money. These boot camps are probably between usually closer to $20,000, and then you have to pay for all your food and expenses while you're in the city. So it's not for everybody. You're gonna have to have a lot of money, and not a ton. I mean, maybe save enough to get the tuition and then to live in one of these cities for 3 months. But to kind of immerse yourself into coding every day from the time you get up at 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then maybe even till 9 p.m. because you'll have group projects. I mean, that is the best way to learn, and you will certainly get a lot of skills and level up quickly, and that's probably the best way. And I don't think there's a stigma if you go to some no-name boot camp no one's heard of, because almost every city now has a boot camp, and everybody can say, hey, this is a boot camp, and it's just kind of garbage. So I would take a look at that. Vue is a JavaScript framework. Yes, it is a JavaScript framework. What's up, Forrest? So if you guys have any more questions, you can leave it in the comments below. All right, so I want to read some comments. So I have not gone through these comments. These are comments on my YouTube channel. Many of them have built up. So I'm going to quickly read through these. If they're bad, I'm going to delete them. Like I assume like all comments are good comments, but you know, if you're going to say something nasty, I'm just going to delete it. And maybe I'll answer a few here. Here's a good one. There has never, kind of the theme of this episode, there has never ever been a market for junior developers. Back when I got into the tech industry was back in 1999. Junior developer jobs are rare even back then. The tech industry isn't noob friendly, and by junior they expect you to be extremely technical but may be bad at prioritizing or may need some guidance in some situations. But juniors are guys with under 5 years experience. The term you're looking for is entry level. However, entry level jobs are rare because hiring someone with no proven development experience is a huge risk to take. So entry level jobs aren't common at all. If you ever do see an entry level position, it's probably going to be a huge tech company, and they're likely not going to have you touch real code base much. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's semantics there. Some people call new people entry-level developers coming in junior. Some people call it entry-level. I don't know. Maybe there's a distinction. I think of it the same way. And to get into the tech industry, yeah, I would 100% agree. It's been hard for a long time. And at least like 15, 20 years ago, like in the 90s, early 2000s, it was pretty much expected. And once again, I'm talking about United States, Canada. It was pretty much expected that you have some kind of college degree, but in the last 10 years, that's not true at all. So I think it's changed that way, but it's always been difficult to get into that job, to make your way into it. So let's just keep looking here. 1 second. Oops. Looking through here. 1 second. 1 second. Hold on. Okay, well, let me go ahead and wrap it up here. I will, we'll do some more here in a little bit. I have a YouTube I'll answer more YouTube comments later. Thanks everybody for joining. Bye. Okay, actually, I'm back for one more video. What I want to do here is I need to, I want to try one more thing here, and that is to give away some courses. So Dylan from Coding Tutorials 360 has a new algorithm course, and I want to give away 2 videos per 2 videos for comments that have been left on these videos. So I have this best ways to make money as a developer and best way to make developer part 2. And I said, if you made a comment, I'm going to randomly pick 2 people from each video to get a copy of his course. So let's do that real quickly. Let's take a look here. So, okay, so enter your YouTube URL. I'm going to hit search. Amount of unique commenters, 7. And I'm going to start the raffle right here. So I'm going to click here, and the first winner will be Warren Darren. Hey, I never heard of MCNs before. I definitely learned about that, although I didn't know it would be revenue. Okay, cool. Warren Darren Cook is going to be the first winner. I'm just going to open up Notepad and copy and paste his name. So, okay, Darren Cook is going to be the first winner. So let's do one more for this video. And the second winner is Joseph D. Another great video, Eric. Nice to hear from Dylan. I was planning on taking his Udemy course. I'm new to programming. Okay, Joseph D is the second winner. All right, so now I'm going to go to this comment, this thread. Best ways to make money as developer part 2. I have it, enter your YouTube URL here. It has 6 comments. So you could have had a very good chance of winning a course if you just left comments on these videos. Zach, I'm still beginner in the web development journey and looking to discussion freelancing level difficulties. Cool. So thank you, Zach. And I'm going to pick one more. And we'll do it. Okay, Mirza, hey, he's in the chat room. Mentoring is challenging. All right, Mirza. Okay, I have my 4 winners of the course. I am a winner. Okay, cool. So thank you guys for once again. I'm sorry I had to stop the stream quickly. My son ran up and I had to stop it. But I got these 4 winners done. Now I am done for the day. Thank you everybody for watching. And I appreciate it. See ya.